Oh. So, welcome to Teller Time. We are working on a project, as you can see here. I'm going to go over some of the boxes. Actually, he's going to go over some of the boxes and what we have here. It's really exciting to have all the cars that we have. Unfortunately, though, with that comes a lot of especially unexpected projects, which is what we have here. Our 2014 Ram behind us here has unfortunately done something that apparently we're finding out is pretty common for the trucks across the board, not just Ram, but Ford, whatever.
Yep. So we have lots of cars in the shop that we're sitting in, and we want to make this channel about them, about restoring them. There are quite a few different vehicles in here that people might be interested in seeing them come apart and go back together. But also the showing of them and kind of the whole car enthusiast hobby. Our whole goal was to, as we're getting a little bit up there, we want to get these cars out and take them across the country and enjoy them. And one of the things that we wanted to do that with was the truck that's sitting behind us. So we purchased this truck new actually in 2014, and it's been an awesome truck. We got the 6.7 Cummins in it. It's got the high output ASM transmission added to it. So, sorry, not the high output transmission, but high output engine that comes along with that transmission. And everything has been great until about the last year, and we had some issues with some emissions, and
we're not going to talk about what
we're not going to talk about that. It's just it didn't come with some things that it looks. I've seen some pictures online, and there's I don't know. It just seems to be a little bit lighter in the engine bay, but whatever. It does run really well now. And a couple weeks ago, I was driving it and through some engine codes, and I got the dreaded. It's the AF0003 and the 226, which means you've got a bad actuator and or turbo. So I've been messing around and doing some testing on it, and turns out the actuator seems to be good, but turbo is not so good. And the reason for that is because, well, we're a little bit, well, she's older than me, but.
I am not. He lies. He lies.
Drive it too lightly. This thing, and probably is the same reason that we lost our emissions so early, is it sooted up on us. So been doing tons and tons and tons of research. I mean, there's tons of stuff out there on YouTube and internet, and thank you all to those who have got videos prior to us, spoken to a lot of people, and trying to figure out what to do. A lot of talk about going back to a second or third gen swap, just to try to simplify things. But you know, we pull quite a decent amount of weight. We're up here in the northwestern portion of the United States, so we got some hills, we got some terrain, and really love the exhaust brake on it.
How many miles does it have on it?
And we're around almost 70,000 miles right now, so not too terribly much. And so, like me, research, and have come down to the conclusion that we're going to put a drop-in turbo in this. Looks like one of the good ways to go. There's many out there. We're actually going to go with the Fleece Cheetah, and we've got some boxes here full of that. I think we just dumped our entire retirement fund into this. We are paying for this all ourselves. This is not a promotional video by any means. This is something that we have to.
Although we welcome if any of these companies would like to have us market their products, we would be happy to do so. Or even give some future feedback. I'm sure we'll do that anyways on a future video on once this is all done and we've had a chance to drive it for a little while, how we feel the performance is.
Yeah. So kind of the current state of the truck is, in order to kind of make it a little bit lighter, it is tuned. We were working with 30 Diesel Customs out of Canada, and they're Cooper custom tuned. So this does have a 5-chip, basically, or 5-stage, up to 120 horsepower in it. Again, with the ASM transmission, not looking for more power. I want to keep the thing together. So we are just going for fuel economy, pulling, towing, and that. So that's why we kind of went with the Fleece. It has a little bit more horsepower gains, they say, but looks like we're definitely going to flow a little bit better, get a little bit more fuel economy. Watching some of the how-tos on just exactly how to put one of these in. Not fun. We could totally do it, but it looks like a lot more challenging if you're going to keep the stock manifold, and that I'm not really interested in lifting the motor and messing around with all that stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a new exhaust manifold on it. I've got one here from BD Diesel, which is pretty sweet. It is in the stock format, so it does have all the outlet plates and stuff for the regen system if it ever, ever find a good set to put back on it. It is capable of doing that. And then at the same time, we're going to go through some other things that is kind of maintenance related and just a little bit more geared towards simplifying the truck. I'm all about getting this thing simplified, reliable, and maintainable, that is not completely computer controlled at every angle that you look at the truck. So
I will say that I was aware of these boxes, and sitting down today, these are all new to me.
We've had these boxes for a while. This stuff's been in planning.
Okay.
But yeah, so we kind of got forced into this. It's car show season. It's May here, so we've got to get this stuff going. And sadly, when I pull the truck in to do all the diagnostic on this, it kind of blocks in all the other cars we had to take to the show. So the challenge has been dropped on me. So we got to get this done. So this is not going to be one series. This is going to be one show. This is going to be multiple episodes. So we're going to be doing a couple things. So I'll kind of go through the boxes and see what we got in these things. I'm not too terribly sure. But I do want to say all the companies that we're going to go through right now have provided excellent customer service to us, really speedy delivery, and lots and lots of help, especially out of Glacier Bay Diesel down in Texas. We had some shipping problems with one of the shipping companies. I'm not going to name who they are. Became quite a mess for a very costly purchase, and they made it right. And I know UPS, oops, sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that. UPS, they didn't make it right with them. So I definitely shout out to them. They are an absolutely standout company, and I will speak very, very highly to them. So without further ado, let's kind of get into these things and see what we've got. I'll start with the turbo side of the stuff. This is what our first thing's going to be, and then I'll kind of get into the other little things that we have. So, yeah, I'm glad you've seen these things because I do lots of trouble. So,
like I said, I knew about this stuff. I'm going to be interested to see what other projects he's been planning on that I didn't know about.
Yeah. So the good thing about BD Diesels, I got this from them. We're on like I said, we're on the West Coast side of things, and I didn't have time to get something from the East Coast. So I did get it locally, but it is still under their warranty and everything.
What do you mean you got locally?
Washington is local.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's not good. We got some packing foam. That's always good.
I have dogs underneath my feet, so if I trip, be understanding.
Okay. So what did we get?
Oh, we got a koozie. That's important. Some
So
stickers.
it looks like we got a koozie.
Sticker.
We got some stickers. We've got some thank yous and looks like some instructions with a QR code. That's good.
This is the expensive box.
We have a return form. Yeah, so one of the things that I did opt to do, I think they give you 21 days, I believe, to return, but typically when you're buying these are, I believe they're the modified whole set turbos like the trucks come with, and they charge you a core charge. And so I guess if you can get it back in time, they will waive that core charge for you as long as the thing hasn't been beat to death with a sledgehammer and is something that's rebuildable. So ours totally is. It's just full of soot. Looks like you also come with a little package of all the hardware.
So what was your reasoning for not wanting to tear it apart and just cleaning the soot out?
The reasoning is because the amount of work it takes to get this thing out. Because sadly I did buy, I have a rebuild kit for the turbo. They're super cheap, not a big deal. Looks like it's something that can be done pretty easily, but with the tolerances of the stock turbo, it looks like something that I'll probably be back in, especially with the driving habits that we have soon. So I decided, well, with that and this just being a little bit more opened up, a little bit lighter on the tolerances and a little bit more performance, might as well go with this and see how long it can go. So this is the total drop-in turbo, and it weighs a little bit. So, bear with me here. So this is it in all its beauty. I've not opened this, so I hope it's the right one. Yes, but so this is whole set. So this is a kind of a remanufactured, modified stock turbo. These do come with whole set actuator already installed and calibrated, so it is literally just drop in. It does have the billet compression wheel and everything else that comes along with kind of a modified performance turbo. So kind of excited to see what this thing will do. So that is it in all its glory. I'm not going to get too terribly carried away because I don't want to get anything in it. But this will be one of the first things we have in. Not the cheapest thing in the world, but definitely not the most expensive thing out there either. So we looked at different designs and figured that's probably the best way to go. Time will tell. There'll be more videos about it. That thing's heavy. Okay. Next thing on the list that's going to go in with that project is the intake, or I'm sorry, exhaust manifold. So this is cast by BD with their own design. This is a two-part manifold. Heard some horror stories about cracking and heat problems and you name it. So cool. All right, so we've got that, and it's the two-piece design. From what I understand, the stock ones, actually, this is the way it will sit on the truck, but the stock ones kind of, all right, now I gotta hold it up. She has to hold this up, it's a little bit lighter. So, yeah, like I said, it's got the flanges for the recirculating system, definitely larger, little opened up ports on that. And kind of the cool thing that I was really excited about is this has kind of a two-chamber, a little bit better flow than the stock manifold. The stock manifold really kind of bunches up in here. This one takes your back 3 cylinders and your front 3 cylinders and gives them their own chamber. It directs them all, so a little bit better on the pulse from the head itself, and it should give us a little bit more flow for that turbo. So there that is. It still has some of the ports in it. I know I do still run a bracket here for my coolant recirculation and stuff that I have on it, so that's good to have all that stuff in there. I can retain all of that. I believe it also comes with these little ports and stuff. We just got to find it in the box. But anything else in there? No. Cool. All right. Another sticker. Well, we're going to put stuff all over the place. So yes, this comes with all the little ports to block those off. Comes with the studs for the turbo itself. So yeah, we should be ready to go with this. So the reason I've also done this is it's going to be easier just to take the manifold and the turbo all out together and not try to wiggle around and try to get underneath that and fight it. A little too old to fight this stuff. All right, so we've got lots of stickers, lots of instructions. All right. So the other thing that I opted to get while we're down there, I've got a speed sensor. This is also from Fleece. So this is kind of plug and play. Just wanted to make sure that I could put one in. Didn't know if the old one would come out easily. It's where it's actually at and where you're going to actually undo it. Might not be the best thing in the world. So while I'm down there, brand new, get that thing in and get it running. And what else did we get from Fleece? Fleece is having a good year. All right. Ooh, we got another koozie. That's what I'm talking about. And some more stickers. All right, so this cool little package. What we got? Ooh, there we go. So this is your oil drain tube. So the stock one is kind of reminds me of an old gas can, metal kind of corrugated steel thing. Looks like a major pain to either get out and or put back in. So this is a lot better unit. Everybody really speaks highly of this. Easy to bolt in, flexible to this point. It just drops right into the side of the block and returns your oil. So definitely going to make things a lot easier when we put this back in. All right. So that would be everything.
What's in that box?
On the turbo side. What's in that box? Yeah. Well, that's not turbo. So
That's a box I'm not aware
To
of.
go
then.
further, we have the ASM transmission, and I want that thing to last as long as it possibly can. And heat is the main killer of transmissions. So we're going to do our darndest to keep it cool. So this is a new PPE high sump or deep sump pan for the transmission. So while we're got it all tore apart, we will be putting this in, and this gives us a couple more quarts of fluid to keep it cool. I chose this one. There was a couple of different brands out there, different types. This one had quite a few veins inside of it to kind of channel the oil. Definitely had some coolant fins on the back of it. And I like the position of the actual drain pan plug itself. Lots of them are on the side, and just I don't want to make a mess. It's harder than you're trying to drain things. They're just kind of blowing all over the place. So this is straight down, but it is actually flush with the bottom of the pan, so it's not something you're going to tear off. You do high center on something. So yeah, and it was a little bit easier. It looked and designed to get to these bolts. This seems to be kind of a challenge for some people. It gets up underneath the transmission member, and you've got to like lift all that stuff up to get it done. So yeah, pretty excited about this. Try to keep that transmission cool. So that's step one for the transmission.
It's just, we're gonna have to clip this part out. I don't know, it's got weird lines on it. Like in the middle here.
Okay.
I don't know
Just
what
the
it
camera.
is. I think it's just the camera.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't know what it is. I hope so.
Okay.
Alright,
Okay, so to go along with the transmission pan,
technical difficulties.
there. We are going to change, if I can get this thing open.
You guys are seeing and learning of all this at the same time I am.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Maybe that's not the right way to do this. There we go. So, at the same time, we take the transmission down. Figure since we got the coolant out, we are going to get rid of the coolant, I don't know what you want to call it, bypass, thermostat, whatever you want to call it. So I have an ATS coolant block. So this is going to go in line of the coolant lines that go up to the cooler in the front of the truck. And basically what these do is they eliminate the common failure of the Ram's design of a stuck check valve in this, where we just constantly recirculate your transmission fluid and not run it up to the front cooler. So just a matter of time till that either plugs up or fails on us. So this is kind of a free-flowing design. Nothing wrong with having a cool transmission from the get-go. Probably going to take it just a little bit longer to warm up with one of these, but looks like a pretty simple install, probably about 15-20 minutes. So this will be a little episode for us. But yeah, be doing this at the same time that we service the transmission. Like I said, this takes our retirement fund. So
Yeah, you're gonna be seeing a lot of our
if you
trucks,
buy
sounds like.
you buy a diesel, woo, that's where you live. All right. So another thing that we're going to be doing, I've been looking at these for years, and finally decided to pull the trigger on one. But we have a France bypass oil system. So pretty cool little deal here to kind of run in conjunction with your normal oil filtering system. Typically your stock oil filters will reduce your sedimentation stuff by about, I don't know, I think they're about 20 to, I've heard anywhere from 20 to 40 microns is about as far as they'll go down. You know, just kind of for an example, you know, 100 microns is about the thickness of a human hair. So your normal stock filter will do basically half the diameter of a normal hair, and that's basically what it's pulling out of your oil. Well, these run in conjunction. They kind of run, I'm just going to say in parallel with your normal filters. This will go down to 1 to 2 microns. So dramatically reduces the amount of sediment in your oil and extends the life of it. I'm not looking for the extension of life. I'm just looking for them getting the soot out and making sure that we can keep those cylinder walls and everything clean as we possibly can. I've already torn some of the intake off of this truck, and there is soot in it, and yeah, just want to get as much of that out as I possibly can. So this will be going on. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to build a little bracket for that. I'm trying to figure out, most people put these up underneath their front bumper. It just seems to be kind of a mess and a terrible place to put it. So I'm going to try to put this up in the engine bay in a little different spot. It might make it a little bit easier to get to and maintain. And yeah, so we'll find out as we kind of get into that. Feel like Mr. Rogers here.
I know.
Kind of what's in my neighborhood. Let's see here. Going to do a cabin air filter change.
That's exciting.
I know that is super exciting, but this truck did not come with a cabin air filter, so I did the Geno's modification to it. It does kind of kill the velocity of your vents a little bit. It's a little bit of restriction, but if you got a truck that's still recirculating exhaust gas and stuff, you're sitting at a drive-through or wherever, it's not the best smelling thing in the world. So this definitely helps if you don't have one. If not, it keeps the dust and everything else out of the interior of the truck when you're, especially out where we live, it's kind of farmland, a lot of dirt, a lot of dust, a lot of mess.
You have a long dirt driveway.
Long dirt driveway. Let's see here. Okay, so that takes care of the oil, that takes care of the transmission, that takes care of the turbo. Might as well just buy a new truck. We've actually thought about that, but you know, it's probably just kicking the can down the road and we just don't want to go there. Open that one upside down. So, boom. Here's another one that we have. So, got this again. You'd never guess. Probably fleece. Yes, got some more stickers. So we have a grid heater delete. That's another thing that, especially the age of this truck right now and the miles that we have on it, it's just a matter of time. We're going to potentially lose that crazy little bolt and don't want to deal with that. So there's the little grid heater nut that typically either melts or falls into your cylinders and just basically detonates everything. This is going to remove that. So this actual opening is for where your intake bolts on. This is about twice the size of stock. So dramatically larger, a lot more airflow. And this is where your grid heater would sit, and your little bolt is about right here. So all gone, just directly in. But where we live, it is not necessarily the warmest climate. We do get down into the negatives. Sometimes that's close to, well, I think the worst we've seen is about negative 14, and I had some fuel gel up on us. So yeah, we know what that's all about and don't want to deal with that again. So
I mean, it's almost June and I'm in a jacket, so.
yeah. So I looked for options on what can we do to continue to keep our grid heater, and looked at a lot of different options. Looked at the banks. Just wasn't too tickled with the heater that they have. It's kind of that small coil spring, and I don't know how durable that is, but it basically sits on the top of the horn, and if any part of that ever failed, melted, cracked, fell off, it'd do the same thing that heater bolt would do. It would fall right back down into the exact same cavity, and away it would go. And that just seemed a little sketchy to me. So looked around a little bit and found, like we talked about earlier, Glacier Diesel Performance. Awesome company. So waited a while for this. They had multiple colors, but they didn't have this. And they finally were able to get these things cast and sent to me. So this is brand new intake horn. As you can see, large opening, just like the grid heater plate itself. So I mean, compared when we get the old one pulled off, you'll see the difference. Dramatically larger airflow and capacity that this has. They sell this in two different formats. They've got one that's just got a standard kind of horn on it that you can actually put your intake boot right onto, but this one actually has the flange just kind of like the stock one does. And
standard what on it?
Flange. This is a
No,
flange.
you said there's a standard what coming?
Horn.
Horn. Okay.
This is called an intake horn. This is a horn.
That's not what I heard.
Yeah, horn. Like that.
That's not what I heard.
That's a horn. So, yeah, so this will go on. It's also kind of cool if you are into hopping stuff up. If you want to throw some nitrous or methanol or whatever kind of injections you want to do, all your factory sensors can go into this thing. But I thought this was kind of nice. It's low profile. It's simple. It's smooth. It's not gaudy and chrome. I'm not chasing that. This is kind of a grandpa rig. Not a grandpa yet, but kind of a grandpa rig nonetheless.
Gray hair.
Gray hair. Got that.
We don't have the official grandkids yet, but he definitely fits the part.
Got more stickers. So yeah,
I can
definitely
make
got
a
some
wall
garage
of
swag.
stickers in here. Put it like a. Oh, we could put it on that maybe.
Yeah, okay. Gasket for that. And so this is the solution to the grid heater. And this is a really sharp setup here that, to me, pretty foolproof. I think it's going to be a little bit more restrictive than the Banks design, but this actually mounts to this flange on the inlet side. I get it apart. And so if anything were to fail on this, it would literally have to be inhaled into the intake up and over this horn to get in. So that's, I know, nothing's foolproof, but I think this is definitely a better design and a better way to go. If nothing else, just put it on your shelf and look at it, because it's absolutely beautiful. All machined aluminum.
That's pretty.
So yeah, much more robust. Grid heater on that. It is basically 2 layers thick versus that small little coil spring that the other one has. So yeah, much better design in my mind. And yeah, super simple, easy to bolt up. And this will actually bolt right directly to the flange itself on the inlet side. And that makes your stock hose and all your inlet pipe, or actually rubber boot, fits right to it. So there's no cutting, no modification to that. Pretty cool deal. So yeah, we'll be putting that in as well. Also comes with a bracket for your dipstick. If you have the ASN transmission, dipsticks can be on the same size as your normal oil dipstick, but yeah, comes with that as well. And apparently a gasket. Yeah, put that back in the box, just gonna miss that. Okay. All right, what else do we have?
I don't know.
Kind of a whole video of just, oh, it's like Christmas. Look at this stuff. All right, so.
Take his credit card away
Yeah.
immediately after
Yep.
this.
So if anyone has had to change oil, or not change oil, but change your fuel filter in one of these trucks, we do it ourselves. It's way simpler, way cheaper. Yeah, Dodge wants a little too much for that. So plastic cap on those. You try to get those things, and for whatever reason they torque on, and that they're a booger to get off. So just a simple little aluminum, simple anodized, did it green so I can see it a little bit easier. They come in black, blue, red, different colors, but put that on just to have a little bit more robust cover for that. Someday we'll do a fuel system on the truck, but right now it's still working, so we're going to kind of be crossing our fingers and hoping it works for a little bit longer. What's in this box? Woo, okay. So we are, like I said, we're around 67,000 miles, and we did get an engine light for this. So it is crankcase filter time. So here is new crankcase filter we'll be putting on. And looking at some of the kind of the delete kits for these, and I don't think the computer's going to play very well with them. It seems they don't like to. It looks like your computer wants to see a little bit of vacuum being pulled out of this and some kind of pressure on the inlet side of your turbo. So want to make sure that we don't mess anything else up. So kind of safe insurance. They're not the cheapest things in the world, but you don't have to change them all the time. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So that will be one of our videos.
Yeah, so make sure to like and subscribe if you're interested in watching all this stuff, because this is going to be over the course of months, I have a feeling.
We're going to build a truck.
Only because we're salaried, both of us, which means we're slave labor, and we work a lot of hours. So unfortunately, this is stuff we can only get to on our free time.
Yeah. And this is just kind of a brief, if you can't see it in the video, we're kind of messing with the camera. So when we get into these things for real, we will definitely be opening all this stuff up and looking at it so you can see it all. Wow,
Yeah,
look at that. That is a big box
For that.
for a little box. Wow, so this is from PD Diesel. That's crazy.
Yeah, as we go through,
Okay.
when we actually do each of these projects, we'll get into and really show up close all of these different pieces and parts, and explain them really well as well, obviously, and show you the installation and all of that. So.
Yep. So this right here is the exhaust manifold kit. So all of the new gaskets for the exhaust manifold.
That is a big box for that.
It is a big box for a little bit of
So
stuff
we're
there.
gonna
So
need this box.
yeah,
Let's see that we
interesting.
need that.
So that is cool. We got those. So that will be going in there. All right. Okay, and last but not least, I think we've kind of gone through it all. So we've got this little dude right here. So this is a genuine Mopar accessory made in Mexico. Hecho en Mexico. No,
Yeah,
it's
made in Mexico.
so what this is about a year ago, we converted the truck from a column shift to a console shift. I did the kind of the 2015 prior shift conversion. It hasn't been talked about in a long time, but when I first saw it when we first bought the truck, I was like, "Oh, that's nice," because you've got all the controls and everything for your up and down shift, kind of your paddle shifters for your transmission. When you're towing and hauling, especially with the exhaust brake, it's nice to have that control. But you kind of felt like a monkey kind of hanging off the steering column all the time, trying to push the buttons up and down. But with the console shifter, it's just a left to right sideways motion, and it's really natural. Your hand's already normally on the shifter itself while you're going down the road, so it's an easy way to shift and make it work. Very, very simple conversion. It's really just plug and play when you have the 68 transmission, but with the ASIN, a little different animal. So I did get kind of the same cable that you would use for the 68, and it works, but it does not have the adjustment and the play in it that I needed to make it work the right way. So there's quite a bit of slack in the forward motion of the shifter itself, and I think the leverage that it has on it is really, really touchy and really, really simple. So if you literally just bump the handle just a little too hard when you're just driving, it will actually change gears on you. So it doesn't really lock in the way it's supposed to lock in. So got the different cable. I'll have to look up this part number when we really get into it to show you, but I believe it is out of a Charger or a Challenger. And it is plug and play, but it does have a much easier and better adjustable end on it. And we'll kind of get into that with the colors of the plastics and the codes that they have on them. But super simple, and I'll kind of talk you through the whole thing on what we did on that, because I highly recommend it. Parts are getting a little bit scarce from at least Ram itself to get the shifters and stuff in, but yeah, it definitely makes a huge difference in your truck and the way you drive it, especially when you're towing. It's not a manual at this point, but it's a lot easier. That's what I'm really used to driving, and so it kind of keeps your hands and everything in place that you're used to, and you can kind of drive it the same way. So with that, that's about all the stuff that we have to put on. Like I said, there'll be definitely different episodes as we go through this. The first one that we're going to be doing is the turbo, because the truck won't move without it. So we're going to be tackling that today, and so follow along, and we will kind of step you through it.
Yep. So like and subscribe.